This is the book of Psalms, chapter 90, starting from verse 9. For all our days are passed away in thy wrath. We spend our years as a tale that is told. Verse 10. The days of our years are 60 years and 10. So a score is 20 years. So 3 scores would be 60 and 10 would be 70. And if by reason of strength they be 80 years, yet is their strength labor and sorrow. For it is soon cut off, and we fly away, the time of death. Who knoweth the power of thine anger? Even according to thy fear, so is thy wrath. So man, time on this earth is not immortal. There is a time appointing to death and a time appointing to die. There's a saying, there's two things that are assured on this earth: death and taxes. Verse 12, so teach us to number our days that we may apply our hearts unto wisdom. Over the duration of time, the Heavenly Father has reduced the number of years which he allowed man to live. I think the oldest man in the Bible was a man by the name of Methuselah. Forgot the exact number, but he lived about 730 something years. I think in the days of Noah, man was allotted a time of 120 years. Now here in the book of Psalms, during the time of King David, it's 70 years. And now you have kids dying right in the womb, being stillborn, lives being taken right and left. But touching on that point, when it speaks to the matters of death, we have to remember that no one dies being innocent. Some people are able to live to a full age and pass away, and certain people will die, whether it be in a shooting, in a car accident, of a disease. This has all been orchestrated and planned out by the Heavenly Father. Delves into a deeper topic, but basically when you die, you go up to the Heavenly Father and you receive your judgment, and then your judgment is played out on the earth with the duration of years which you have, as well as how much time you have left. The book, King Hezekiah prayed to the Lord during his time of sickness, and it was appointed unto him to live 15 more years. So it just shows you that the Lord determines whether we live and whether we die. We have no control over it. This is the book of Job, chapter 4, verse 7. Remember, I pray thee, who ever perish being innocent, or where were the righteous cut off? Even as I have seen, they that plow iniquity and sow wickedness reap the same. All right, so the Lord is justified in all of his doings. He makes no mistakes. Although we on the earth may not understand his ways, we must always remember that his ways are higher than our ways, and that he is perfect in all his judgment. This is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 1, starting at verse 1. The word of the preacher, the son of David, king in Jerusalem. So this is Solomon speaking. Vanity of vanities, said the preacher, vanity of vanities, all is vanity. What profit hath a man of all his labor which he taketh under the sun? So you come on the earth, you work and you toil. In contemporary society, people go to school and either go to college or go to the army, and then they get a job, work their way up the ladder, or start their own business, and you make money in order to, get married, have kids, buy a home, all of those things. And you work, and you work, and you work, and you work, and then eventually you hope to retire and enjoy your money. But at some point, your health will begin to fail, and unfortunately, you will succumb to the reality of life, which is the fact that none of us are made to live forever. Verse 4, one generation passeth away, and another generation cometh, but the earth abideth forever. Right, so every day people are born and people die. It's the matrix. I think in Proverbs chapter 30, it talks about four things. It goes into the womb and the grave. It's a matrix where people are constantly coming in and coming out and going out. Verse 5, the sun also riseth, and the sun goeth down, and hasteth to his place where he arose. Verse 6, the wind goeth toward the south, and turneth about unto the north. It whirleth about continually, and the wind returneth again according to his circuits. Right, so the solar system, the elements, they're constantly in motion. They're constantly in unison and move according to the way they have been instructed, the intents and purpose of the Lord. You have the sun, which is the greater light, and the moon, which is the lesser light. But although they are different, they both shine their light and have their purposes. Verse 7, all the rivers run into the sea, yet the sea is not full. Yet the sea is not full. Unto the place from whence the rivers came, thither they return again. Right, so if you understand the omnipotency of the Heavenly Father, you would ask yourself certain questions about how does the sea know its bounds when dealing with the sand. It's the Lord, through his greatness and through his glory, that he separates the bounds of the sea and the land. Everything was made perfectly. Some people believe in evolution or a Big Bang theory, but it really cannot explain the intricacies of man and how man is made. How is it that the heart beats and has an energy flow to allow it to beat, being that is not connected to anything? A car is able to move because it has an engine, right, which is controlled by a battery. But what is the battery that keeps man alive and man moving? Verse 8, all things are full of labor, man cannot utter it. The eye is not satisfied with seeing, nor the ear filled with hearing. Verse 9, the thing that has been is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done, and there is no new thing under the sun. So the expression, as much as things change, they remain the same. Throughout time and throughout different civilizations, There's been different circles of behavior. The only thing that changed is the information or the time capsule which man is placed in. But the behaviors of man, the thoughts of men, it's pretty much stayed consistent throughout time. So either you're adherent to the ways of the Heavenly Father through His Son, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, or you are opposed to those ways. Verse 10, is there anything whereof it may be said, see, this is new, it hath been already of old time, which was before us. There you go. Verse 11, there is no remembrance of former things, neither shall there be any remembrance of things that are to come with those that shall come after. Right, so when you're born, you have particular thoughts, you have particular experiences, but when you die, your spirit is required of you. There's no remembrance of former things. So when you come back on the earth, which is another topic, your spirit is refreshed on the earth. You don't remember your past lives. No man, through pride, feel like they are in control or have jurisdiction over their lives and the way their lives are governed. But none of us have control. And that is the height of pride. To think that we can artificially upload our consciousness to computers or through cryogenics, freeze ourselves to be brought back somewhere in the future. Man, through his pride, is constantly thinking of ways to be able to prolong his life. And that is wickedness, because you are trying to make yourself a god. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 40, verse 13. Who hath directed the Spirit of the Lord, or being his counselor hath taught him? With whom took he counsel, and who instructed him and taught him in the path of judgment, and taught him knowledge and showed him to him the way of understanding? So there is no peers, there's no counselors regarding the Lord. There's no board of directors. There's no vote regarding the ways of the Lord and what should be done. There's no correction. He reigns supreme. He is the Most High, and he does what he wants within the earth. Verse 15, behold, the nations are as a drop of a bucket, and are counted as the small dust of the balance. Behold, he taketh up the isles as a very little thing. So basically, dealing with the Most High, the inhabitants of the earth are considered of no significance. It's like an eagle in comparison to an ant. There's an expression that says, an eagle cannot explain his perspective to an ant. And that's how it is with the Most High. It's a whole different vantage point. And his ways are beyond finding out. Jump into verse 17. All nations before him are as nothing, and they are counted to him less than nothing and vanity. It's going into another topic. The nations who are outside of the covenant are not loved by the Heavenly Father or his Son. And this is why they are vehemently against his ways and will ultimately have to be taught the order of him, because they have no God. They create folly for themselves and create false gods and false images and molten images in order to create that, in order to have that connection, because it's just not there naturally for them. This is the book of Daniel, chapter 4, verse 17. This matters by the decree of the watchers and the demand by the word of the holy ones, on the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and giveth it to whomsoever he will, and setteth up over it the basis of men. Right, so even in man's feeble attempt to have dominion or to feel like they're in control, the Most High is still puppeting man for his intents and purposes. Everything is according to his will, whether consciously or unconsciously, will all be in program. The Lord controls the good and he controls the evil. There's nothing that is done on this earth that is out of his sight. I think even in the book of Matthew, chapter 10, where it talks about that not even the birds fall from heaven. A bird dies without him knowing. So it just shows you the expansive reach which the Lord has, which his reach is everywhere. So again, man trying to maintain or prolong his life, but that in itself is vanity. This is again the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 8, verse 8. There is no man that hath power over the spirit to retain the spirit, neither hath he power in the day of death. For there is no discharge in that war, neither shall wickedness deliver those that are given unto it. Right, so as much as you may try to retain your life or to prolong your life, there is no discharge in that war, because the spirit belongs to him. It is barred for a period of time, but then we all must die and go into the judgment. The reason why most people, especially those who are living wickedly in high places, are trying to prolong their life is because they know that judgment is coming and they're trying to prolong the judgment. Precept quickly is I'll jump into verse 11 in the same book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 8. Because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily, therefore the hearts of the sons of men is fully set in them to do evil. Right, so they think that there's no consequences for their actions, so they continue to go from wickedness to wickedness. But the Lord sees and knows and recording all of their works. So essentially, the Lord's will is going to be done on the earth, whether people like it or not. His word, his destiny, his intents and purposes, his spirit of prophecy will prevail. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 46, verse 10. Declaring the end from the beginning and from ancient times, the things that are not yet done, saying, my counsel shall stand, and I will do all my pleasure. Remember, freely receive, freely give.